everybody, I'm Nicole.
I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Sarah, and together we're the co-founders of Whale Tales, a living library of cetacean stories.
And surprise! We're here, and we're here for a very exciting extra episode of the pod, celebrating the 5th annual World Krill Day.
With some incredible special returning guests.
Oh, and sit back and enjoy as we dive right in.
Okay, we are thrilled to once again be doing a special episode for World Krill Day, which is today, August 11th. We've learned so much over the past few years about the importance of krill in marine ecosystems since we've done our first episode about this special day and these special little creatures, and we're so glad to be highlighting them again this year.
And we are extra excited to be highlighting them by welcoming back to the pod Philippe and Ashlan Cousteau. Philippe and Ashlan are going to tell us all about krill and also why you, a person listening to a whale podcast, should keep listening and care about these tiny little guys.
The Cousteaus are journalists, explorers, scholarly entrepreneurs, and they have a huge voice in the world of filmmaking and conservation. They've traveled the world in search of stories to captivate and inspire us all. As hosts, speakers, authors, filmmakers, entrepreneurs, they use the power of entertainment to save the world, and we are so honored and delighted that we get to speak to them again this year. I really hope that you enjoy this conversation.
Okay, everybody, we are so excited to welcome back to the pod Philippe and Ashlan Cousteau. Hooray! And you are both here to tell us again and our listeners all about krill and why it matters, why it's important, why we should care, and tons of other fun, not flipper, but krill facts about krill.
Well, and I feel like too, it's, krill is the most underrated, unheard of, unknown little creature in the ocean that literally without krill, everything that we love would not be here. Possibly including us. So thank you all so much for letting us celebrate World Krill Day with you and talk about these tiny but mighty superheroes.
I know we had a lot of fun last time, so we're thrilled to be here again.
Thank you.
So, as we said, we chatted for Krill Day in 2023, which was amazing, and we had such a great conversation and learned so many things about these little guys. So, what would you say has changed, both with krill and your work with krill? What's better and what's worse? It's probably a huge question to get us started.
Let's start with the downside.
Okay. I like starting there because then we go up, right?
Exactly. I always like to start being a Debbie Downer and then hopefully we find the happy points. But I think that, for krill, like our ocean, it is getting warmer. It's getting more acidic. It's absorbing more carbon. And it's not in the ocean itself isn't in a great place, which also means that all the creatures that call the ocean home are not in a great place. So I think we'd have to almost start there at the basics. And also for krill, since we last talked, they have lost some of their protections, specifically down in the Southern Ocean. And that has been very disheartening because literally they are the linchpin for the entire Southern Ocean. So I think that is what's really sad, and that's been what's really hard and the worst things that have really happened, I think, since the last time we talked.
Yeah, it's counterintuitive, I think, that right now, this summer, around the world, we've seen record-breaking heat waves, the hottest June and July in history, the hottest sea surface temperatures ever recorded. We have massive heat dome in the United States for weeks, over the 4th of July weekend that was cooking the entire East Coast. Europe, obviously, thousands of deaths. It's really a horrible catastrophe what's happening. Not a surprise. India has seen, above record temperatures. I was in India just about 2 months ago and meeting with rural farmers in Andhra Pradesh and, developing work around our coral program. And these people are suffering unspeakably in 110 degrees with no air conditioning. And it's, so here we are in a situation where we continue these enormous wildfires in Canada that are polluting cities, this summer along the
Outside of Paris.
in the U.S., massive wildfires in Spain, France. So here we are in a situation where things are getting worse from a climate perspective, and yet we are doubling down on the krill fishery in Antarctica. That, as Ashlan said, is underpins a critical carbon cycle in the ocean that for free absorbs directly tens of millions of tons of carbon and is part of a biochemical, we talked about this last time, biochemical system that absorbs billions of tons of carbon. And we're doing it all for pet food and supplements. So there's this enormous disconnect for us that continues, I think, to be really frustrating, where we do this really dumb stuff that is contributing to horrific consequences that people are feeling and dying from almost every day now. Crazy.
And I think the good news is to
lift us back. Take us back up.
I'm going to take us back up. Yeah.
Take us back up.
The good news is, truly, I think over the past few years, people have started recognizing the power of the ocean. People have started recognizing that we can't talk about changing climate or climate anything without talking about our ocean, because our ocean controls our climate. Which is so great, because years before people never talked about that. But now I think people understand that. Governments understand that. Politicians are hopefully choosing to understand that.
We can hope.
It's people are starting to see the links. And they're also starting to see that in keystone species or in the apex predators, they are the ones that are showing the warning signs, and people are starting to take notice. So I think that is hopeful.
I agree. And specifically with krill, it's been around for decades, the krill fishery.
Yeah.
And flown under the radar. And people were lining their pockets at the expense of all of us, and no one knew about it. So there's more conversation about the krill fishery now than there ever was before. I like to think we play a small part in that. Absolutely. And there are more retailers, we can get into this more later, but more retailers are starting to ban krill oils in nutraceuticals. So that's good.
Yeah. There's been momentum. Yeah. There is momentum.
Yeah. That's great. Do you want to talk a little bit about how the work that you're doing with krill has changed over the last few years?
Yeah. I kind of, when 3 years ago, we were really just kind of starting the journey ourselves. We had, heard about, look, Philippe has been in the ocean his entire life. Literally, I think, I don't want to say during conception because that's weird, but he's been in the ocean, right? Pre-birth.
Probably not long after.
Yeah, pre-birth. He was floating in the ocean. I came to the ocean a little later as a second career. But, I think that as we are looking at this, we are true believers in, we hate telling people what not to do. I hate as a consumer being told what not to do. I want to be told, what can I do? What can I do to make a difference? And so I think for us, as we've been growing Cvrkel and really just been growing our work around the Southern Ocean advocacy in general, it has been wonderful to see that there is an uptake, that there is advocacy out there, that people are really starting to talk about this. And even last year, when for the first time in history, the annual krill catch quota, which was 620,000 tons.
Oh my gosh.
620,000 tons. That's what they're allowed to take. For the first time in history, they hit it last year in August. And guess what? We are on the same track this year, which is sad. But I will say, when that quota was hit last year, we saw every major publication talking about it, news shows, people. But then people were like, well, what is krill? What is a krill?
Yeah, maybe that's a good point to back up to.
Yeah.
For the listeners to recap everything.
Exactly.
Yeah,
let's recap some of the basics. What are they? Why are they so important? Because we're talking about they control the ocean. The ocean controls our climate. Let's bring it back to basics.
Let's talk about these cute little critters. I wish
Yeah.
they were
They are really
cuter.
cute.
Because, like,
Because then it would be easier.
Would be
Yeah.
easier.
right? And I feel like that's
Yeah.
just something that the ocean sadly has to deal with, and fish in general, except for cetaceans because they're freaking so cute.
So
Yeah.
cute.
But
There's
so
like
we
there's a
need-
built-in kids cartoon that someone's
know.
gotta work
Something-
on there.
Yeah.
Or like, who's that? Like jelly cats? Like they make an axolotl. I'm sure they could
Yeah.
make a krill, right?
my
Should
gosh.
make-
Everyone
that's a
loves
great idea.
We need to
axolotls
do that.
now.
Okay, that
They also
literally
like
that's going on our to-do list because we
yeah,
love
I
Perfect.
don't think it's
Perfect.
jelly cats, but there used to be little. I'm sure they still exist, like little stuffed like viruses and stuff.
Oh,
that
yeah,
you
those
can
guys.
buy
I've
at, like
got
the
a-
science at Science Worlds.
Oh yeah,
here,
okay,
you
got
can
a
buy them.
cyan-
Putting that in,
cyanobacteria.
Krill,
Yeah,
We need a krill plushie
Krill,
for sure.
Krill's
The benefits.
plushie that's stuffed with like reclaimed ocean plastic. We're going. That's
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
My
Priscilla,
kids
coming
first
soon.
on the list. First
Coming
on
soon
the
to a
list.
retailer near
Near
you.
you.
yes.
Okay, so what is
amazing.
krill? Okay, so let's just start with that. So krill are these cute little ish crustaceans. They're similar to a shrimp, but they're a little bit bigger. They're about the size, when they're full grown, they're about the size of a human thumb. So not tiny, but not big. They are one of the most, this is where people get a little confused. There are a lot of krill in the ocean. There are a lot of krill in the ocean. But the krill that we have in the ocean are actually live in very specific areas. So they're easy to catch. So number one, so just keep that in mind for later. So krill are amazing. Krill are also a keystone species, especially let's talk very specifically about the Southern Ocean, down around Antarctica. Every creature you can think of in Antarctica, from seabirds to penguins to whales to seals, did I already say seals? But everybody either eats krill directly or eats something that eats krill directly. So krill are usually either 1 or 2 step removed. That's it.
Yeah.
So without krill in the Southern Ocean,
Crazy.
it would,
Yeah,
the
that's it.
ecosystem would collapse. Also, what's really cool, the Southern Ocean is our coldest ocean on the planet, and that is actually what starts off our ocean conveyor belt that cools our planet. So cold water from the Southern Ocean moves towards warmer areas, in the tropics and the equator. Then it keeps going to the Arctic where it gets cold again, then it comes back down. So that's like the big thing.
Yeah.
And that's what controls our climate. So, but krill, because this water is moving constantly, they are literally the basis, not just of the marine food web in the Southern Ocean. They really are one of the most important creatures in the world's ocean, which is super cool. That feeds, think of how many fish and how many people that feeds around the globe annually. So that they are so important. When I say they're important, I mean we should be kissing them every day.
We will call them superheroes of the ocean.
Yeah.
A big kiss on their little lips.
Their curly lips.
Aw.
I mean, yeah. Just try not to inhale them by accident.
They're only the size of your thumb, though, so it's like
So you got to be careful.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why we get the stuffy. So we
Exactly.
have
yeah,
to,
let's make it easier.
yeah.
Yes.
We need to scale. We need to scale it up.
We need to,
Yes.
it needs to be bigger than,
And as Philippe said, I mean, they are so important, not just to food, not just to other creatures, not just to the ecosystem, but they are carbon sequestration machines. So krill, just by eating and pooping, sequester 20 million metric tons of carbon every single year.
That's
God.
insane.
And like here in the US, we're trying to build carbon capture plants that are going to do 500,000
that.
tons.
Yeah.
And we're spending
Yeah.
billions of dollars
Billions of
to
dollars
do
on
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do 20, just their poop, just by eating
Yep.
Yeah.
plankton,
Just by doing it. Yeah.
absorbing it and going down at night to hide from predators and pooping. And they sequester it in the deep ocean. So that's also really cool. It's like, it's sequestered. It's sequestered.
For a long time.
For a
Deep.
very long time.
Yeah.
But then again, they also shed their exoskeletons, which then also, makes more carbon go down their part, which is what we talked about last time. We talked about poop a lot, but
So
they are,
much.
which is
It was
Philippe's
awesome.
favorite thing.
Poop?
Yeah.
Well, talking about poop
Well, talking
is
about poop.
always funny.
Everybody
Listen,
poops.
I'm like a 13-year-old at heart, so I will admit
Well,
that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Give a quick update on the poop whale phytoplankton cycle.
So the other piece of it all is this biochemical system where, they'll eat the phytoplankton, and then whales, penguins, etc., eat the krill. And krill, the poop that animals have when they eat krill is rich in iron. Okay?
Right.
The ocean is traditionally iron poor. And so, or typically iron poor. And so iron is a really, really important nutrient in the ocean for phytoplankton. And so it is this wonderful circular, relatively simple circular system where krill eat the phytoplankton, whales eat krill, then the whale poop feeds the phytoplankton, that feeds the krill, that feeds the whales, that feeds the phytoplankton, and it goes around and around and around we go. And it's an elegant system, a relatively simple system, but critical to this carbon sequestration function that the ocean plays that is so important.
Billions of tons of carbon
annually. And we disrupt that when you take one of those pieces out of that system. When you impact krill populations, there's not as much for the whales to eat, and thus there's not as much waste to seed the phytoplankton. Hence, there's a lot of talk. Maybe we've heard, some of your listeners have heard of some of the geoengineering efforts and research that's being done about seeding iron filings in the ocean to boost phytoplankton production, to increase that photosynthesis where they absorb more carbon and take it into the deep ocean when they die or get eaten. So that is simply doing what this krill whale cycle already does.
For free.
For free.
And that's the thing. There's always these beautiful cycles in nature that we just need to let them do their thing.
Just let it be. It's like, oxygen, our oxygen creation. It's like, let's not mess up the ocean, because while we love trees,
just let it do it.
Most of our oxygen is actually coming from the ocean and not from trees. So let's not mess up the ocean.
Nope.
We all like to breathe, I think.
And it's pretty important.
And it's a complicated system that we probably don't completely understand. What else are they doing?
Exactly. And that is actually, that goes back to the hopeful message too, right? That goes back to what gets us excited about, we, scientists, the community at large, is still learning stuff every single day about our ocean. And that's what's so exciting. And we'll still learning stuff every single day about the Southern Ocean and how this all works together. And that's what's also sad, because if we mess something up, then we don't even know what we lost.
We don't know.
But if we do study it, if we do research it, we know how important it is, and not for nothing, how valuable it is for human survival. So I think that's also, every year we learn more and more about krill and more about the species that rely on it.
Yeah. It was just like last fall when they had that paper about the whale pee on the migration. So we're still learning about basic nutrient cycles.
So much. And you know what? It really does. It all comes down to the basics.
Yeah, exactly.
I always tell a story. I was filming a show for CNN, and we were up in the Arctic, and it was March, and it was like minus 40 degrees. It was really cold, and Celsius and Fahrenheit, minus 40 actually overlapped.
Yeah, it's
so very cold. And we did a live Q&A with viewers. And here we are doing this amazing science. We're up in the middle of the Arctic, and it's, there's polar bears, and we're understanding carbon dynamics, and living in unheated tents, and they're
like digging ice holes into
chipping into the ice down into the ocean, Arctic Ocean below. And a vast majority, easily 75% of the questions that we got were, where does your food come from, and how do you go to the bathroom? So it's just fundamental. Everybody wants those. It all comes down to that. And honestly, it's as simple as this critical function that, yes, we are absolutely learning more about, Sarah, but we know enough now to know that disrupting that for something as frivolous and unnecessary as supplements and pet food is insanity.
And actually, I forgot to mention that about krill. So what also makes krill so phenomenal is krill have omega-3s in them. They also have antioxidants in them. Like fish that only have omega-3s, they don't make their own omega-3s. They get omega-3s by eating algae. And the antioxidants that they get are also from eating algae. And so when Philippe is talking about this huge fishing industry that's going down there, and same as fish oil, but krill oil, they're literally going after the krill because they want the omega-3s. But the omega-3s are coming from algae. And so it's like we're disrupting our largest carbon sink on the planet, the basis of survival for our planet when you look at the ocean, for something that's completely replaceable and not even the primary source.
Yeah.
So that I think is still drives us bananas. But that's why that is exactly why we are all about krill and about educating people. Because honestly, most people don't know. We didn't know. We're ocean people. We didn't know about this until we started working on Southern Ocean advocacy specifically.
Yeah. I think about it every time I take an omega-3 now. I'm like, hey, doing it. No fishy burps and no krill in here.
Well, and that was it. You know, we started our journey by joining an organization called Antarctica 2030. And its purview is to advocate for the establishment of 3 marine protected areas around the Southern Ocean, in the East Antarctic, the Weddell Sea, and the Antarctic Peninsula. And years go by, and China, and secretly Norway, and Russia, and a few countries are going, no, 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 no. And we had to ask ourselves, why? What is happening? Like, all the science is there. This makes all the sense in the world. What's going on? And we realized that, as is so often the case, that there are commercial interests that are pressuring these governments to vote no for these MPAs, because it just so happens these marine protected areas, like national parks in the ocean, are located in the areas where there is the most and highest concentration of krill. And because krill is critical to and thus the highest concentration of penguins and whales and everything else. And so
seasonal breeding grounds.
You know, krill isn't evenly dispersed in the ocean, right? There are hot spots, and these happen to be around the Weddell Sea, East Antarctic, and the Antarctic Peninsula. And so we were like, well, what is happening? What's the krill fishery for? Why are all these, countries so, predominantly Norway and mostly Norway, and also China to a certain degree, and a smattering of other countries. But Norway is the biggest krill fisher by far.
60%.
60%.
60%.
Which is one company, by the way, which is owned by one guy.
Jeez.
One guy
Crazy.
is responsible
world.
for 60% of the krill fishery.
And the other 40% is spread out among other countries, other
China,
companies.
South Korea, Ukraine, Chile, a few. But most of it's Norway, one company, one dude. And so it's all about money. And we were like, well, what is that? Well, 70% of the market value of krill is for omega-3 nutraceuticals here in North America. Now, that's not all of the krill is used for omega-3s. A lot of it's used for ground up for fish meal, for aquaculture, things like salmon. Some of it you can find in pet food at your local pet store for dogs and cats. But the highest value of that is the oil that's used for nutraceutical, for omega-3s. And as Ashlan said, then we went down the rabbit hole and realized that krill get their omega-3s by eating algae. And just in the last decade, there's the technology to actually extract those omega-3s directly from the algae, eliminating the need to take fish or krill oil. Mind you, fish oil is also terrible for the ocean, right? It's impoverishing communities in West Africa. It's leading to illegal migration, these traditional fishing communities that don't have any income left.
Destroying other creatures.
It's destroying food webs. Fish oil is also terrible. Not to mention, it's usually rancid. The supply chain is totally opaque, and hence giving upset tummy and fish burps that notorious fish rush people that take fish oil. So here we are. I like to actually equate it to, it's like saying, you know what? I want to get vitamins from acorns. I don't know if I mentioned this on our last podcast, but
Probably so.
But if I wanted to get vitamins from acorns, what we're doing now is like going into the forest and catching all the squirrels, grinding them up. I mean, the way they make fish and krill oil is gross. When you see how it's made, I mean, they literally take the whole animal, everything, all the fish, the guts, the scale, poop, everything. They grind it up into a slurry, and then they have to treat it with lots of chemicals to make it look nice and golden and pretty. So it's like doing that, taking all the little squirrels, grinding them up into a slurry, refining it into an oil, and be like, here's your acorn nutrients. When you could just go get it from the acorn.
Get it.
But it's 100 years of fish oil industry and about 40 years of krill oil industry, and it's the inertia of the market. That's it. It's not a better product. It's not better for you. It's not better for the environment. There is no upside for fish or krill oil other than
to make those companies money.
to make the money.
Yeah.
And it's just they have the marketing dollars because they've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Of course.
And we can now get omega-3s from oil, directly from the algae. So that's when Ashlan were like, this is total madness. And so, you know, I think one of the challenges with the conservation community is that we tend to so focus on policy and direct conservation work, and that has a place. But there is a very clear commercial reason for why this is happening. And so we have to fight fire with fire and recognize what is a commercial approach for us to start to diminish the demand for krill and fish oil and let consumers know there's a better alternative so that we remove the financial incentive for bad behavior. That's what it comes down to. Dollars and cents.
Absolutely.
It's all about money.
Yeah. Yep. Wow.
It's crazy.
It's so crazy.
And that is, I guess, one thing that I've noticed that's changed in the last few years is being able to actually find omega-3s that are vegetarian.
Yes.
Like, you can get it at Costco now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Although there's still some, I think maybe they put the fishy burp option in, which seems weird. I bought, like one brand was on sale and I was like, why, if they say they're vegan, why is this happening? This seems like a weird addition.
There's a reason that fish taste like fish, and that's partly what they eat.
And I will say, look, some algae has a, let's call it an umami.
Yeah.
It has an umami flavor to it. Or
Yeah.
it smells like the ocean. But but I agree. It's just about also giving consumers a right and the freedom to choose.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
There's
that's,
other options
that's
out
why
there.
we started Cvrkel. And so Cvrkel is an algae-based omega-3. And at the end of the day, we just wanted consumers to have another choice. So they didn't have to. I mean, when I was pregnant, the first thing that your doctor tells you is take fish oil. Which I'm like, okay, number one, I don't need to take fish oil. I need to take omega-3s, specifically DHA. Okay, great. I couldn't find, because Vivian, it just turned 7 years ago, there were not vegan options out there. And I'm not vegan, but like there just weren't fish-free options out there. And so for us, we were like, okay, we have to make something for people. We don't eat fish in our household for multiple reasons, mostly just because we know it's in the ocean, so we know it's in the fish.
That's
So
like the goal.
we tend
That's
not
my
to
problem
fish.
too.
Yeah, although we tend not to fish. But you know, for us, it's like, so they say, you know, doctors say, okay, take fish oil, but also you don't eat fish because it has, you know, mercury and heavy metals and PCBs. I'm like, then why are you telling pregnant women to take fish oil? So it's also like this cultural shift of terms, terminologies. You have to be like, okay, no, take omega-3s. And now, thank goodness, there are some options out there.
Well, and for
better
the other
for you,
thing,
better for the ocean.
This is more of a budget to buyer beware. Nutraceuticals are not governed by the FDA.
Not regulated.
No.
They're not regular. So
They can just be anything.
when you see something on online marketplace, I won't name any,
Oh, I'll say it, on Amazon.
and it's like super cheap.
There's a reason it's
There's
cheap.
probably a reason, and you do not know where that came from. We have actually heard of some brands selling fish oil as algae oil, and mislabeling on purpose because it's cheaper.
Of course.
Yeah.
And
And no one knows, no one checks. So be very, very careful. To all of your listeners, a warning.
Yeah.
This is something you're putting in your body.
Yep.
And should take very seriously in the same way that you would look at food or anything like that. And just buying the cheapest stuff on Amazon or whatever, be really careful because the chain of custody, where it came from, there's no transparency on that stuff.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Unless you have a reputable brand like what we launch. And we did it at Cvrkel also for a reason, because you know exactly where it came from, the companies, it's all there, it's transparent, high quality. It's scary. Supplements are scary when you look into it.
And there's also, even aside from like how safe it is, there's no like certification or guarantee that it contains what it says it contains.
What is this? Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you want a company that has to transparent on their testing regimen. They make sure, you know, all of those things. That if it exists, people will talk about it. If it doesn't, if they don't talk about their testing and their standards and all that stuff, there's a reason, because they didn't do it, right?
Did not
Or some no-name brand that can pop up for a couple months and then disappear.
And then
There's a lot of fraud and a lot of bad stuff out there. So it's just a warning for people too, to really look at brands you trust. And these things are really important and great for our health, but we have to be very, very careful about who we're buying from.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, again, there's the whole greenwashing thing that happens in all of the places. I remember looking for glass floss, but it came from New Zealand as opposed to the one that has plastic in it that came from Canada. And I'm like, what is better here, right? Like you gotta do more research than just going to the store and buying what's
exactly.
Some retailers, again, the good news. Listen, Whole Foods hasn't sold krill oil for a very long time.
Yeah,
Nice.
Because it didn't meet their standards like well over a decade ago.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been decades. They've always been forefront on, at least on that.
And also, you alluded to this earlier, and that is also what is giving us hope. I mean, there has been some major marketing or major pushes by partners like Sea Shepherd, especially Sea Shepherd in Europe. And they actually went out and right now I think they have now 4 major retailers all across Europe that have decided to take krill off of their shelves.
Wow.
And that is really amazing. And that was all, honestly, it was because their supporters went out. Their supporters delivered letters to like the managers of the companies. They petitioned the headquarters.
So Holland and Barrett.
I think Boots has agreed to do it. Or maybe Boots has said yes, but they haven't signed yet.
Yeah.
There's a big one in Germany that's called DM. I will not try to say it in German because it's like Deutsche but DM. And now I also know that is also starting to take place in the US as well. Yeah. So it also gives us hope to see these consumer-based petitions making these huge multi-billion-dollar companies stand up, take notice, and change. Yeah. And that's really, really exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's what's always gotten me really inspired about the power of consumers. I remember learning that, in my early 20s is when I finally figured out that like the dollar I spend actually matters. And we talk on our podcast, and our listeners hear this from us all the time. We talk a lot about political advocacy and how important your voice is politically. And we're not saying it's not. It is.
It is.
But it's challenging often when you think about political advocacy and political power of one individual, because there are lobbyists and there are commercial interests, and the voice of one person is not treated equally when it comes to politics.
100%.
But consumerism, a dollar is a dollar is a dollar. Yep. And so when you start thinking as a top executive in a capitalistic venture, if all those dollars stop coming in, it doesn't matter if they're all coming from one company whose people who come and shop there have said, don't buy this anymore, or if it comes from 1,000 people all stopping to buy there, it has the same impact.
Yes, absolutely.
So really getting people excited about the fact that like where you choose to put your money, especially because this is something that's, continuously changing even in the last couple of years since we talked to you, everything is more expensive. Life is more expensive, and life gets harder every day. So I feel like I have to have that conversation with myself and my family members on the regular, because but I just want to do what's easy. Like, yes. And I feel that. And I know our listeners feel that. And we all feel that. But reminding myself that at least when it comes to where I'm going to spend my money, that still matters maybe even more today than it did a couple of years ago. And it will still have an impact. And I can still affect the bottom dollar of that company for the good where I'm choosing to put my money, and for the worse where I'm choosing not.
I mean, Nicole, that is so spot on, because for instance, the reason why we, the world, met the catch limit for krill in the Southern Ocean last year is because it's the Southern Ocean and Antarctica is governed by a body called CAMLAR, the conservation, worst name ever.
Yeah, it's
the Committee for the Conservation of
Living Marine Antarctic Resources.
Poor things.
Who knows,
CAMLAR.
man?
CAMLAR. And the way that
marine living
marine living Antarctic resources. Yeah, there you go. Good. High five. Good job, babe.
We got there in the end.
Good job. Takes two to tango. So, and the reason is because they couldn't reach a consensus, because the way that it works in Antarctica is every country that has a base or has signed on to the convention of blah, 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 they get a vote on any changes that get to be made on land and in the ocean.
Unanimous.
But it has to be unanimous. So could you imagine last year trying to get Russia and the Ukraine and China and the US all to agree on something? Well, that's never going to freaking happen. So it was so many years that they couldn't even agree on the catch limit. So the catch limit expired and reverted back to an old catch limit And that's why we reached the catch limit last year for the entire year in mid-August. And honestly, as I'm here, we might have reached it today. It's literally any day now we are going to reach that again. And it is because the politicians can't get their together. Like, not, I mean, seriously, they can't. So it's up to us. Yeah. It is up to us as consumers to tell these giant companies, we're not having it. You are not going to destroy the most fragile and most important ecosystem on our planet for all of us. Whether you live in the middle of Africa, whether you live even in the Arctic, the Southern Ocean, it touches your day, your life, every single minute of the day. And we can't let these corporations, let's be honest, at the end of the day, it's about money. We can't let them destroy our lives.
Yeah, for any of your listeners who spent the summer roasting in the heat, they need to be thinking of the Southern Ocean. And it's not
flooded out.
People who lost family there in Texas and the terrible tragedies that have happened. And I think about it, you know, when we look at the Southern Ocean, we look at the krill situation, these fisheries, again, exist needlessly, just to enrich a few people. And these are big factory, like, cruise ship size vessels, right, that are going down there, that are mostly automated, employ a handful of people. It's not like this is some artisanal thing that employs lots of fishermen and it doesn't.
No.
Bottom line flows to a couple individuals that make a fortune.
They actually process the oil
on
the boats in the Southern Ocean, and then there's runner boats that take the oil to Houston. Houston, Texas.
It's the big port where they
drop off the oil, come back, and they work 24/7. And while they're scooping up the krill, they have ROVs, which are, you know, unmanned underwater robotic vehicles that are looking for the next giant group of krill. They pull up their net, which also sometimes includes humpbacks.
Three whales died at least that we know of last year.
That we know of.
Oh my gosh!
They don't have to. It takes almost 2 years for them to actually have to report whale deaths.
And if no one sees it, then they won't tell anybody.
So I will say, thank God for Sea Shepherd. They have been down there last year and all this year documenting the whole thing. But these boats, they just churn. And like Philippe said, it's not like we're crushing an industry that's providing thousands of jobs. It's not.
No.
Yeah. It's not.
Yep. And totally needlessly. And I would say the other thing is, it's not like they're all of a sudden going to find an alternative for krill in some industrial glue or, And it's oil, it's nutraceuticals, it's omega-3.
It's good for you.
That market goes away, huge impact on the krill fishery, right? They won't find another product that is as high value for them to sell that oil for. So this is very much, Nicole, to your point, a consumer issue. Yeah. Shopping is politics, right? Bono said that famously.
Yep, absolutely.
And which is good news because that means the consumers have the power to do something about it in the choices they make about their omega-3 oils.
And their pet food. Amazing. Like that's the other thing. I want pet parents. I want all pet parents. If you have a dog or a cat, I don't know about birds, but if you have a dog or a cat, definitely please look. And they don't even usually say krill, or sometimes they're proud of it and they say, you know, and Southern Ocean or Antarctic krill, like it's a positive. But look on.
Check the label.
Check your ingredients.
Buy something else.
And just get something else, because again, there are pet food companies are starting to make the switch as well to algae-based omega-3s, because again, there's also no
Mars
toxins.
is doing it, right?
Yeah, Mars is doing it, which is I think they are the largest pet food maker in, I don't know if it's the US or the world. But yeah, they're switching all of their omega-3s to algae.
Well, I think one of the coolest things that came from the last time we talked to you about this was, I know for myself and Lindsay and Sarah and I have talked about this too, like we didn't know any of this.
Anything at all.
And so the education that comes from talking to you and all of the work that you do and our listeners taking this and growing that message. I had conversations with my vet. I had conversations with like my little artisanal pet store that I try and go to do the like support local thing. And one of the most recommended foods at the vet office was a krill, not completely krill-based product, but had krill in it, and they don't have it anymore. And that wasn't because the vet was like,
amazing.
We want to fish from the ocean. It's just they didn't know. We didn't know, like our listeners didn't, like you guys said, you didn't know before you get
We didn't know.
Exactly.
I know, and this is not a judgment for people who take krill oil or fish oil.
No, exactly.
We had no idea. it's one of those things that just has flown
And
under
it's
the radar.
also a multi-billion-dollar marketing that is telling us,
absolutely.
like, that's
Telling
the
you
new
to
thing.
take it. Yeah.
Krill oil is superior to fish oil. I'm like,
According
Yes.
to whom?
According
Oh, the
to-
people that are
yeah,
going to make
he's
money
selling
off of it.
Roger
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
See, yeah.
One of those scientists in a stock photo holding the pipettes upside down. That's who says so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's always my
They've
favorite.
checked their records. And
Yeah.
Beakers
yes,
upside
it's
down. What's
better.
happening?
What's some AI video that totally screwed
Yeah,
up?
of course.
Yeah, it's just like you.
We'll get
Yeah.
on that
Shocking.
too.
Shocking.
Okay. All right. So thinking about the last 3 years, what has kept you going? I think it's been, as Nicole said, it's getting grimmer out there, but there's still hope. So what's kept you guys going in this area and everything else?
I think there's two things, so I apologize if I take yours. But I will say that every single time Philippe and I talk about this, we talk about it on podcasts, or we give speeches about it, or we talk to our friends, having the light bulb go off in people's mind, because again, they just don't know. No fault of their own. It's not like they talk about krill in like middle school science class. But with like seeing the light bulb on people go off, and then also when they realize, like you all, that they can do something about it, that it's actually a hopeful thing.
Yeah.
Our ocean faces so many problems. Our marine species are facing so many problems. But this is a completely solvable issue. This is like the lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah.
It is solvable, right? Like ocean acidification, that's going to take us a while. But this,
Yep.
we can
do this
shut
one.
this down. We can keep the Southern Ocean intact. So I will say that when people get excited, it gets us excited. That's, I think, keeping us going. And then also we have two little girls. And I think last time we talked, I guess Colette was a newborn. But they're the 7, Vivi just turned 7 and Colette's getting ready to be 5. And our kids are so into this, as you could imagine, because we talk about it. But like just seeing them, and we're like, we have to keep going for them. We have to keep going for our kids, for all the kids around the world. I mean, we need a healthy ocean. So there are days that I pour myself a giant glass of wine and sit in my room and think, wah, 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 because we all need those moments. And then I get it together, and then the next day I wake up and I'm ready to fight again.
I said, Bluey, can you tell we got little kids where they're like,
Oh,
have a cry,
always.
pick yourself up, and
Have a
like,
cry, pick
try
yourself
again.
up, and go again.
Keep
I have a
going.
little cry, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think they say we cry.
Dust yourself off.
We
Yeah.
cry.
Dust yourself
Yeah.
off.
I would just add to that drives me is fury. When I think about how stupid this is, I'm furious. I'm like, this is so ridiculous. This is we can solve this. This is total nonsense. So I just get really angry, and when I get angry, I get determined.
Focused.
It does.
It
It
works.
really does.
Yeah.
And it drives me
gotta do what
forward.
works.
Do you guys have like a favorite memory or experience that has happened to you both, whether it's on this subject or just ocean related since the last time we chatted with you?
Since the last time we chatted, I don't know, but I know the one thing that I wanted, since this is Whale Tales, I wanted to tell you one of my favorite experiences ever. We were down in Bimini filming the great hammerheads, which are exactly what they sound like. They are just gigantic hammerheads.
Amazing.
Super amazing, super cool. And we had to take a boat out to the area. And on our way back, we saw a pod of wild dolphins. And I was like, oh my God. And the captain of the boat was like, oh, would you guys like to get in the water? And I was like, well, yeah. Can you just drop us off right here? There, he was like, no, they're going to go away. But he's like, I think I know what direction they're going because I kind of see this group. I'm going to take you up. I'll put you guys in the water where I think they might pass you, and then I'll back off. And we did that. And within, I don't know, 6 minutes, you were snorkeling? And I was so excited, I jumped in. I think I had a mask. I just like, I get too excited and I just jump in. Yeah, I was like, woo!
Yeah.
And they came right up to us. They started clicking, and you could feel them scan your body, which was the coolest thing. You could just feel them. And they stayed with us, and they swam, and Philippe was diving down, and they were following him. And I was just, the surface sounded like a dolphin, because I was like, I was just so excited. But I think that was... And knowing that they had a choice, obviously, to swim away if they didn't want to hang out with us. They probably stayed with us for half an hour.
Yeah.
And I think that was my favorite.
Yeah, that's a top dolphin girl experience.
The mic,
Well, and my favorite is still the gray whales in San Ignacio, and now the girls are old enough, so I think we're gonna try. As Ashlan hasn't been, so we're gonna take them maybe in February to San Ignacio. The girls with us to go see them, and Ashlan too. Yeah. And fun fact, which I'm sure you've covered before, but our favorite is gray whales have heart-shaped blowholls. So
when they blow at the right angle, their snot, their whale snot looks like a heart.
Yep. It's the only time whale snot is okay.
I will say this. So when you're with those whales in San Ignacio, though, right, in the Pangas, it's a place where the whales go. I'm sure you've talked about it before. The gray whales go there. It's shallow. They can have their babies in peace, and the Pangas, you go up in these little boats and stop, and they come to you and they bring the babies. So anyway, when I was there, we were filming, and it was a show for Discovery, and the whale, there was this big female that was coming up next to the boat. I mean, it was twice as long as the little panga we were in. It would roll over on its back for us to scratch its belly, and then roll back over and take a breath, and we would get covered in whale snot. And we were like, you know what? We're okay with that.
It's fine.
Because then it would roll back over and we'd be scratching a whale's belly like a dog. It was unbelievable. So there are times when whale snot's okay.
Yeah,
you don't mind getting covered in whale snot. Yeah,
I'd be into
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. So
it's magical. It's just magical.
Yeah.
You get to have experiences with wildlife, and they want to have an experience with you. It just makes your soul sing.
Nothing activates the kid brain more than the wild animal choosing that interaction, right? Like, wow!
And then I always think I'm Cinderella. I'm
so magical.
Or Snow White. I'm Snow White. Oh my God, I'm Snow White. I'm Snow White. And then I look over and they're like with everybody else, and I'm like, that's okay. I'm still Snow White.
It doesn't matter.
We all are.
Yeah. We all are Snow White. Yeah. Okay, just one last thing before we go, because we just covered some amazing stories. Do you guys have any other fun flipper facts or fun Krilly facts that you would like to share with our listeners?
Let me think. Oh, here's a fun one that everybody forgets, including us. I'll ask you guys. I'll try to stump you.
Ooh, okay.
In Happy Feet 2, there were krill, and their names were Will and Bill.
Yes.
They were voiced by very famous actors. Do you remember who?
Was it Bob and Doug McKenzie?
That doesn't make any sense.
No. Okay. There's Brother Bear has two mooses that are
fair.
different kids movies.
Fair. Okay. It was go ahead.
Bigger.
Nope.
Brad Pitt.
Oh, what?
And I think it was Brad Pitt and Matt Damon.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Matt Damon.
So
that's delightful.
I'm like, how can we get Brad Pitt to really? I'm working on it. So any listeners, if any of your listeners have an in with Brad Pitt, please,
or Matt Damon,
I mean, Matt Damon's on the press tour right now. Let's get some entrepreneurial reporter.
I would love that.
Let's ask
connection.
No questions about Greek mythology. Just about
krill.
I know. I'm sure Matt's going to be tired about talking about ancient. I know. Let's call on the Brad. I know you're Brad. Yeah. It's Matt. If you're listening,
I love you too.
I love you too. Odysseus. So when you're tired of talking about ancient Greece,
come to us. Let's talk
about
If Matt Damon's listening to our podcast, please let us know. Yeah. Come talk about krill.
Krill to talk about.
Oh,
I'm sure we could work in an Antarctic Matt Damon has to get home from Antarctica movie. That's what he loves to do.
A little spoof. I think it's a great idea.
Make it happen.
I agree. And we also, before I forgot, I wanted to say, because we all love you so much, if any of your listeners are interested in Cvrkel, our algae-based omega,
talk about a lot.
Our algae-based omega, if at checkout on our website, cvrkel.com,
there we go.
You will get 15% off your first order by putting in whale at checkout.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We'll put that in the show notes for sure, and it's amazing. Thank you for letting us be a part of this.
Well, thank you for helping us tell the story.
I know.
We appreciate it.
Good old krill.
We had a lot of fun, as always.
Is there anything else that you guys wanted to say? It's Krill Day again. I think this is the 5th annual, if I did the
I think you're
math right, which is exciting.
So exciting.
Happy Krill Day.
Yeah.
Happy Krill Day, everybody!
Krillin' it!
Well, we still can't really believe that Philippe and Ashlan reached out to us to do this all over again. But sadly, that does bring us to the end of this extra special episode. And we just want to thank everyone, new and old listeners alike, for joining us here to celebrate World Krill Day.
We would really love to hear your thoughts on this episode or any of our episodes, so you can visit our website at whale-tales.org and find links to all of our various social media handles so you can drop us a line.
You can also head to our website to subscribe to our podcast. You can listen to our 2023 Krill Day episode, which we'll link in the show notes. That one is almost 2 hours long because we've got 3 other amazing researchers on it, plus the Cousteaus. One of the researchers was actually in Antarctica when we talked to her. It was incredible.
So great.
Plus, all of our other episodes, we've got over 90. And of course, you can read over 1,600 whale, dolphin, and porpoise stories.
Woohoo! And we do have a Patreon. So if you like what you've heard today, if you'd like to support what we do at Whale Tales, you can head to patreon.com/whaletales to find out how you can support everything that we do and also get some of the amazing perks that we offer along the way.
You can find out all about that also on our website, whale-tales.org. Tales like the stories, not tales like the animal.
And if you've seen a cetacean, we would love to add your story to our library. You can click the share link on our site. You can contact us on social media at whaletales_org, or you can email us a voice memo and tell us all about your incredible cetacean encounter.
You can find the Cousteaus on Instagram at Ashlan Cousteau, all one word, P Cousteau, and you can find Savoir on there as well at cvoir.wellness. That is SEAVOIR.
We also really just want to offer again a huge, sincere fangirl thank you to everyone who helped make today happen. To Philippe and Ashlan, thank you so much for the conversation. To Pew Charitable Trusts, and especially Barbara for coordinating all of this. Thank you so much, and for just thinking about Whale Tales and including us in your Krill Day celebrations. It was an honor to chat.
Yeah. Finally, we want to acknowledge that we recorded today's episode on the unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples and the Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Shaanu, and Sauk nations. The Cousteaus joined us from LA. Los Angeles acknowledges that it occupies land originally and still inhabited by the Tongva, the Tativim, Serrano, Chumash, and Quiche peoples.
Thanks everyone so much, and have a really great day.